I will say, at least, I had completely forgotten our rulings on the fact that, a game can be eligible for Game of the Year if it was only released in Japan. I first, but never got a North American or European release. I had forgotten that we had that ruling. So,
I gotta say, just putting that in there, it's not really in the spirit of the rule, is it?
Like,
at all?
If Live Alive was released as a Super Nintendo port, I'd agree with you. But the fact that it was remade as a 2022 game, I think that's fair game.
Yeah, we got a category for that, mate. It's called Best Remake.
It's still its first release. Like, if it was literally, here's the Super Nintendo game, we translated it, I wouldn't for a single second make it 2022 Game of the Year. The case for that, as opposed to here we remade it and it is still its first release in the region. It's 2022 Game of the Year. Don't you question me? The rule says it, Jack. Don't you give out about the rules.
I will say, to be quite honest, I think at some point we need to block a half-hour segment on one of these episodes and figure out what the fuck we're going to do with Stanley Parable.
We just need, I think everyone that plays will agree it's eligible. As I said, we would be punishing it for being too clever for its own good if we excluded it, and I think Barry just has to play it.
The thing is, as well, is because we keep saying every fucking time we mention it, we always put the caveat of we can't say anything because we'll spoil it. And I think we just have to say, right, here's a half-hour segment, spoiler cast, let's just discuss it, figure out what we want to do with it, and then be done with it. Because otherwise, we're going to get to December and still be kind of none the wiser on how we want to determine or categorize it.
So part of me feels like we should just give a section of Game of the Year to just talk about the Stanley Parable, give it an award that we only ever issue that year. We don't ever issue any other awards. Just give the Stanley Parable Award to the Stanley Parable.
Best game that should give it all of its be eligible for Game of the Year, but because it's doing something really smart, it's not. Sorry.
It's kind of not, and it is at the same time. But because Stanley Parable is a unique property, we could just spin it into its let's just talk about the Stanley Parable for 20 minutes. Here's an award for the Stanley Parable, which we will only ever issue once, unless anything else does the same thing, which it never will, because it is still one of the most unique video game experiences out there on the market. And I would encourage everyone to not listen to that and part of the Game of the Year until they have just played the game. So
and we could give the award, we could call it the Best Stanley.
Yeah, exactly. The bucket award.
The bucket is I have the bucket
Stanley
in category for best character. I'm not taking that out.
Absolutely. No, I am there as well, and I have a few best moments as well. Yeah, I think we just need to
let's just include it. Let's just include it. If we're gonna, if you lot are fucking serious about including a game that came out 28 years ago that's just had a new coat of paint.
Yeah, but the thing is the reasoning for why we'd want to have these two games is for completely different reasons, and I don't think it's a fair comparison to make.
Neither of them are going to win. It's fine. Just include them.
Three of you agree with it, so that's a majority, and I'm happy to go with the majority.
I still don't know where I sit when it comes to Stanley Parable. I genuinely don't know, because I on a specific day I might wake up and say, nah, it's not eligible, but on another day I might I kind of see it. I don't know. I generally don't know.
There's a single screenshot of a title screen you can post in that game that makes it very eligible.
Yes, but look, we will come back to that. I'm gonna, if Dave listens to this, I'm telling him now live on the air that at some point in the next few weeks we need to just get a bit of a segment and just fucking figure this one out, because
I don't think we need to. I think we just seeing as we're we haven't concreted the rules really enough. I don't think if I was being super strict, I'd just say neither of them count. But Garrett is so set in, and Dave was happy to go along with Garrett's flight of whimsy last week, as are you.
Yeah, no,
therefore,
but the ruling
considering
from
everything's
Life
out of the window,
black and white though. It's totally black and white.
It's not that. It's not black and white enough. We should have made it more robust, because if this was a game that none of you have played, that was a 28-year-old game that I was trying to float in, that no one else had played, there's no way.
Oh, it's
absolutely
special
no
treatment
way
for Garrett, is that?
Yeah, no. if it was only
I
released in
just
Japan,
think it's because it's usually me who makes these arguments about, like, come on, like, this is not really in the spirit of this. It's not in the spirit of Game of the Year 2022 to give either of these games Game of the Year or consider them, really. There's a category for them that it fits better. That's why we have that category. And yeah, I know, okay, that it's not released in North America, but it's still 28 years old. Like, and Stanley Parable is still, you know, the vast majority of that game is still the game that came out.
It's not, though. It's like less than half.
Is it? No,
there's literally double the number of endings.
There's still more endings in the old. I think there's still more endings in the old version, or more ways that you can go with the old version than doing the new thing, because you can do a lot of the new things simultaneously as well. Yeah, but like, I
think the bigger question for you, Garrett, is like, I would imagine you would be pretty aware that the chances of Live Alive winning Best Game of 2022 is going to be quite slim.
I went into last week's episode already willing to concede that it wasn't eligible until Dave agreed with me, and then I'm like, fuck it, double down.
So like, you know, if Live Alive is going to win an award, now in fairness, it you know, it could win quite a few awards, but like, you know, if you put it in for the best game not of 2022, it's in with a good shout.
Like,
just saying.
Yeah, like it would stand a very good chance of winning that category from what you said about it, and I will play it, and I'm sure I will enjoy it.
I'm going to accept it winning that category as a concession. It's like, oh, you know what? If only if it wins that category, can we put it?
Well, look, it's better than Sonic Origins, so, you know, it's already got that.
Damn right.
Up.
I will say, I feel a lot stronger about a Stanley Parable, because I do think we'd be punishing that game for being clever and smart, which I think is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, it exists in its own plane though. That's why I'm like almost just want to give it its own recognition all by itself. But yeah, it's a tough one. Honestly, yeah, I don't know why these things like irritate me. These are not normally the sort of things that do irritate
as I said,
me.
For two games,
like, I feel
they're not going to win. Neither of them are going to win. It's really just can they be considered so that they can lose to something else.
Look, I'm already kind of set to the fact that Elden Ring's probably going to win.
Hey, God
anyway.
of War. I still think, like, it could be God of War.
I hope God of War is a viable challenger to Elden Ring. I really
because
really
like
do.
the people like I'd probably vote Elden Ring right now, even though I'm like, it just feels so boring, and I'd be sad to do it, even though it is like a phenomenal video game. But anyway.
I think a great video game. It's just not for me.
I think it's a twofold factor of like, I don't care about Elden Ring, and even if I do play it, I probably still, I can't say that, and I won't say that, but I think it's such a Route 1 choice compared to like the absolute chaos that was last year's Game of the Year, that it could be kind of a bit of a letdown compared to what happened last year.
This is the reason we all need to rally behind Live Alive. Let me tell you, it can take down Elden Ring.
You all snuck up on me last year, and I still haven't forgiven any of you for it. So like, I'm coming after all your favourites this year. I don't even care if no one backs me. I'm just going to be an agent of chaos.